Okay, we are on Facebook and YouTube. Start the video. Okay, good to see everybody. So, there's the phone. So today is a very special day. It's the commemoration or celebration of the appearance day of Advaita Acharya. And this evening we're going to be speaking about Advaita Acharya. Of course, first we'll chant Jai Radhamadhava. All right, get the guitar. All right. Jaya Radhamadhava Jaya Kunja Vihare Jaya Radhamadhava Jaya Kunja Vihare Vichana Balaba Jaya Girivaroda Vichana Balaba Jaya Girivaroda Girivaroda Yasoda Nandana Jaya Prachajana Nandana Yasoda Nandana Jaya Prachajana Nandana Yamuna Tirabanachari Kunjabiyare Kunjabiyare Yamuna Tirabanachari Kunjabiyare Kunjabiyare Jaya Radhamadhava Jaya Kunjabiyare Jaya Radhamadhava Kunjabiyare Vichana Balaba Jaya Girivarodare Jaya Girivarodare Vichana Balaba Jaya Girivarodare Girivarodare Yasoda Nandana Jaya Prachajana Nandana Yasoda Nandana Prachajana Nandana Yamuna Tira Manachare Kunja Vihare Jaya Kunja Vihare Yamuna Tira Manachare Kunja Vihare Jaya Kunja Vihare Jaya Radhamadhava Jaya Kunja Vihare Radhamadhava Jaya Kunja Vihare Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya also Tera Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavanam ki jai, Mathuram ki jai, Jagadabasami ki jai, Yamunamai ki jai, Shrimati Lalasi Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premananda, Hari Hari Bol, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deja Tarani. So Om Gana Timirandasha, Gananjana Shalakaya, Chakshur Unmiditam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So today we are celebrating the Divine Appearance Day of Advaita Acharya. And so we're going to speak about him tonight. And actually, if we're fortunate, we're going to be able to show this slideshow as we speak. So let's see if I can share. This will be remarkable if we can share this thing nicely and there's no glitches. Okay. Looks like Pray to the Deities. Yes. Okay, I'm going to put these windows off to the side. So they'll just be blocking a little bit on the side. Just a little bit. Let's see how we're going to do that. Oh, yeah, I know how to do it. Okay, so there'll just be a little blocking down there. And then a little blocking. Hold on a second. I think I know how to do that. All right. Anyway, there'll be a little dark spot in the corner. And let me eliminate this one. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Advaita Acharya's glorious appearance. Gaur Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. Actually, I could put, wait a second, I think I can move these out of the way. Let's see, yes, I can move these out of the way. This would be very good. And then you'll have more of a view there. Let's see. No, that one I won't be able to move out. Anyway. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Advaita Acharya's. Whoops. Where can I put this thing? Hold on a second. Yeah. Put that all the way at the bottom. Anyway. All right. Let's just eliminate that one. Okay. We're going to talk about Advaita Acharya's appearance. And first we're going to talk about Advaita Acharya's ontological position. Hold on a second. Whoops. I got to get this thing all set so we can. All right, that's good. Hold on a second. Advaita Acharya's ontological position. Whoops. And we're able to speak about Advaita Acharya by the mercy of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who introduced us to the Panchatattva, introduced us to Radha and Krishna, introduced us to devotional service, saved our lives, and whom we are completely dedicated to life and soul. So all glories to Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So first we're going to talk about the Panchatattva. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasati Gaur, Bhaktivinda. Of course, Panchatattva means the 5 tattvas. A tattva basically means something that is, in the sense, something that is eternal, an eternal personality, category, something that doesn't cease to be, as Bhagavad Gita tells us. Nasato vijate bhavo navo vijate sataha ubayor api adrishtoantas tvanios tattvedashrabihi. The sages say that those things that continue to exist are real, and those things that don't continue to exist, they are not considered real. I mean, they exist, but for a very short time, like a soap bubble. So these are the 5 different personalities. Of course, there's Lord Chaitanya, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Radha Krishna Nahayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. He's in the mood of Radharani. He's directly Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom all other manifestations, incarnations, everything comes. And then you have Lord Nityananda, Balaram Hoyle Nitai, who is the first expansion of Krishna, Balaram, the original spiritual master. But he is also Vishnu Tattva, he is also God. And thirdly, let me turn off my heat. Thirdly, we have Advaita Acharya, who is also God. And it's not that we have many, many, many gods. We have one God, Ekaleshra Krishna Arasanta Bricha, and then Advaita Chuta Nadir Anantarupam Adyam Puranam Purusham Navayovanam Cha. There's one God, and he appears in a variety of places simultaneously, doing different things. He's unlimited. He can do that. You can't do that. So Advaita Acharya is sometimes called an expansion or incarnation of Sadashiva, sometimes an incarnation of Mahavishnu. And so let's explain what that means. Well, there's a Vishnu Tattva expansion of Krishna in the spiritual world called Sadashiva. He's not Shiva Tattva, a different category, like Lord Shiva is, but that Sadashiva expands as the manifestations of Lord Shiva, like the Rudras and everything within this world. So that Sadashiva also expands as the Mahavishnu. And when Mahavishnu glances at the material creation, then Shambhu, who is an expansion of Vishnu, or the Sadashiva too, implants the living entities within the material creation. That glance of the Mahavishnu is Shambhu, Lord Shiva. And so Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. It's easier to say Mahavishnu and Sadashiva, but he is of the Vishnu category, not the category of Shiva, but the Shiva category, or Lord Shiva, expands from him. So this is a very important point. So we explain. So another point is that's made in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is that material nature has 2 features, namely material cause and efficient cause. The efficient causal activities are caused by Mahavishnu, and the material causal activities are caused by another form of Mahavishnu known as Advaita. It's very sophisticated. You can read about it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Also in the Braj pastimes, which is very interesting, he's a coward boy. Wow. He appears as a coward boy and helps Krishna in his various pastimes. Now, when he expands as Lord Shiva in this material world, then he becomes the protector, what's called the Dikpala, of the holy Dham. And that means, for example, like Gopishwara Mahadev in Vrindavan. Of course, Gopishwara Mahadev is a gopi. They dress him up in a sari or lady's dress. There's Kundeshwara Mahadev, who is the presiding Dikpala or protector of Radhakund. And there is Kameshwara Mahadev, who is the protector of Kamyaband. So Lord Shiva, to enter into Braj, you have to get the permission of Lord Shiva. And to get the permission of Lord Shiva, you have to be without any anarthas. Anartha means unwanted things, like lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, and all those other things you are very attached to. So, and he also makes sure that nobody comes to the rasa dance of Krishna except for gopis. So one time Narada Muni wanted to see the rasa dance of Krishna close up. So he came and Lord Shiva said, in the form of Gopishwara Mahadev as a lady, he said, no way, you cannot come here. You have to be a gopi. So Narada Muni went swimming in Kushama Sarovar, came out, and he took the form of a gopi, that is Naradi. Very nice gopi. So that's what Advaitacharya does in the Vrindavan pastimes. Here's Kundeshwara Mahadev, a close-up of Kundeshwara Mahadev. So Advaitacharya appeared, it's called the Shripat, where he appeared in Shantipur. Now, some biographers, they argue with that, and they say he appeared in Srihata. But anyway, he appeared in Shantipur, and he appeared in the year 1433, and he remained in this world until 1558, which is 125 years. So the reason you see all this gold there, there's a reason for it, because his father was Kuvera Pandit, who was considered an incarnation of Kuvera. Now, it's not in Advaitacharya's house there was all this gold, because this is a picture of the heavenly society treasury. Really. But anyway, you get an idea. So Advaitacharya's father was an incarnation of Kuvera, the treasure of the demigods. And of course, Kuvera also had some interesting sons like Nalakuvara and Manigriva. And here's a drawing of the mother and father of Advaitacharya. Now, before Advaitacharya was born, Anaba Devi, his mother, heard a voice from the sky saying the Supreme Personality of Godhead will soon appear as your son. Then she had a dream in which she saw Hari Hara, that means half Krishna and half Lord Shiva. So in other words, Advaitacharya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he expands as Lord Shiva. After he was born, he got the name Kamalaksha. Kamalaksha actually means he who has lotus eyes. Very, very nice. Kamalaksha. Of course, every mother thinks that her son has lotus eyes. And sometimes the mothers are in such illusion that even if the child is blind and pretty ugly, the mother will actually say, my child has lotus eyes, Kamalalochana, which also means the same thing. But Advaitacharya actually had lotus eyes, not only lotus eyes, but he had all the symptoms of a great personality. In other words, the eye openings seemed to almost go to the ears. His hands were a certain length, his legs were a certain length, every part of his bodily proportions were perfect. Advaitacharya actually got married to two ladies who were incarnation of Yogamaya and Yogamaya's sister. That's Sri and Sita. Sita is the Yogamaya's sister, and Sita, uh, Yogamaya is Lord Krishna's sister. Okay, they were both sisters in this world too. And Shri is considered an expansion of Yogamaya. So Yogamaya and her expansion. And Advaitacharya, interestingly enough, is called in many of the poems Sita Pati. That means he's described as the husband of Sita, which is interesting. So here's a picture of Advaitacharya and Sita Devi. Now, of course, the photograph here is not actually Advaitacharya and Sita Devi, but the drawings are. When Advaitacharya was very young, he performed some miracles, and one of the miracles he performed was that he was asked by a guru to get a lotus flower from a lake, and the lotus flower was surrounded by snakes and thorns. Actually, it was in the Ganges. And he walked on the water and on the other flowers to get it. And another story is that whoever or whatever deity he offered obeisances to, if the deity wasn't bona fide, that deity would split into millions of pieces. And so people were scared of that. One time he entered into a Kali temple, offered obeisances to the deity, and guess what happened? The deity split into millions and millions and millions of pieces. Advaitacharya in his household life had 6 sons. Now, he considered he only had 3 sons. Now, why was that? Even though he had 6 sons? Because 3 of his sons were impersonalists. In other words, they didn't believe that ultimately the absolute perfect realization was a person. And so he rejected them as his sons, which is very interesting. Like, it's very hard for a parent to reject their children. But there's this statement that if your son or daughter is not a devotee of the Lord, they can be considered mutra. And if they're if they're not devotees of the Lord, they can be considered, if they are devotees of the Lord, they can be considered putra. Putra means someone who saves the parent from put or hell, and mutra means basically urine. Anyway, Prabhupada stated that. And Chanaka Pandit, he was quoting Chanaka Pandit when he said that. So, then Advaitacharya's father and mother passed away. And when they passed away, he went to Gaya to see the Lord's lotus feet. And Gaya, of course, is the place where the people perform pinda. And here you see people performing pinda in Gaya. And then he went on pilgrimage, and on pilgrimage he met Madhavendra Puri for the first time. Later on, he was to take initiation from Madhavendra Puri, but not at this particular point. Finally, he arrived in Vrindavan, and he was overawed with Braj and went on Braj Mando Parikara many, many, many times. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, and then while he was in Vrindavan, he actually uncovered the deity that had been hidden from the Muslims, known as Madan Gopal. And this Madan Gopal deity was later put by Advaitacharya in the home of a Chobe Brahmin family in Mathura. Later on, that Madan Gopal deity was seen by Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami noticed that that Brahmin family in Mathura was not really doing the proper deity worship. Actually, they had taken the deity of Madan Gopal and put him, or situated him, just like their son. And that was really shocking to Sanatana Goswami. He said, you got to put him on the altar. Why do you have to put him on the altar? Because that's how he's supposed to be worshipped. And so the family agreed to do that. Then the deity appeared to Sanatana Goswami in a dream and said, you spoiled all my fun. Now I just have to stay on the altar all the time. This is boring. Now you're going to have to take care of me. And Sanatana Goswami said, no, I can't do that. I have too many things to do. And the deity insisted, told the Chobe Brahmana to bring him, that is the deity, to Sanatana Goswami's kutir on the Dwadasadicha hill. And then Sanatana Goswami had to worship this deity and basically hang it from the tree. And eventually, because the deity complained about salt, the deity made an arrangement to get his own salt, because Sanatana Goswami couldn't give him salt. And Didi made an arrangement to build his own temple, and that temple is called the Madan Mohan Temple. There's a whole other story about that, which we don't have time to talk about right now. So later on, uh, uh, Advaitacharya got initiated by Madhavendra Puri, and after he got initiated by Madhavendra Puri, of course, here's a picture of Madhavendra Puri, a famous picture of Madhavendra Puri getting kheer, sweet rice, from Krishna. And Madhavendra Puri meditated on the banks of the Radhakund and Shamakund. This is actually at Radhakund. And Madhavendra Puri initiated Advaitacharya. So here's the deity of Madan Mohan. Actually, Madan Gopal became Madan Mohan later on, as I mentioned before. And he's in Karoli right now. Most of the deities in Vrindavan were actually taken out of Vrindavan because they were attacked by the Muslims. In order to protect the deities were taken generally to Jaipur or Udaipur, but especially Rajasthan, the state of Rajasthan, because the Rajputs were so strong that nobody could defeat them. They really loved to fight. So then he went back to Shantipur after his Braj Mandal Parikrama. And in Shantipur, many different things happened. Actually, let's mention one thing. Before he went back to Shantipur, he discovered this one book called the Ananta Sangita, and there the description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given. Now, this is way before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world. So he went back to Shantipur, and in Shantipur, he started to associate with Haridas Thakur. And he had many, many pastimes with Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, of course, was born in a Muslim family, not a Brahmin family, Kshatriya family, Vaishya family, or even Shudra family, but a Muslim family, and it was considered by the Brahmins at that time to be an outcast. But what what Advaitacharya did was to establish that anyone who is chanting the Lord's holy names, Aho Bataswa Pachato Garyan Yaji Valgri Bhargati Namatubhyam, Te Pusta Pustahuva Sharshna Arya, Brahmanucha Nama Karnatiyate, he was automatically considered better than a Brahmin. Automatically, he's a Vaishnava, and it's understood that he performed all these secondary, preliminary practices to arrive at that particular stage. So, Advaitacharya gave Haridas Thakur the plate of prasadam that he had offered in honor of his father passing away, that is, Advaitacharya's father. And that plate is generally always offered to the best of the devotees, the best of the Vaishnavas. Of course, they shocked many people, but Advaitacharya was doing that because he understood that someone who was chanting the holy names, especially 300,000 times a day, like Haridas Thakur, was actually the topmost brahminical, pure devotee platform. While he was in Shantipur, he also defeated a Digvijay. I mean, someone who goes around arguing with people and asking for certificates of victory. And this Digvijay became his disciple. And here's a picture of his house in Shantipur. It's Advaitacharya's house in Shantipur, the inside of the house, of course, and they're worshiping the deity of Advaitacharya. And here's Advaitacharya taking initiation from Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri, of course, was a sannyasi, and Advaitacharya was a young man at that time. And after Advaitacharya took initiation from Madhavendra Puri retired to a place called Rimuna, where there is a deity of Shirachora Gopinath, which you see right here. Shirachora Gopinath is the deity that stole the sweet rice for his devotee, Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri wanted to taste some of the sweet rice because he was thinking, if I can taste this famous sweet rice, I'll be able to make some for my deity. His deity's name was Gopal in Vrindavan, who later became Nachi or Srinachi. So he was thinking like that, but then he became embarrassed because the offering hadn't been made yet, or was just being made. So he actually went away from the temple, went to the marketplace, sat down, was chanting, and the pujari of that deity had a dream in the middle of the night after he put the deities to rest. And the deity said, I have stolen a pot of sweet rice for my devotee, Madhavendra Puri. So please go into the altar, and you'll see it under my dress, and bring the pot of sweet rice to him. So he went there, brought a pot of sweet rice to Madhavendra Puri, and said, you are so fortunate that Gopinath has stolen the sweet rice for you. And Madhavendra Puri took a little bit of the sweet rice, and every day he took a little portion of that pot for the rest of his earthly pastimes. So anyway, and Madhavendra Puri retired in Ramuna, where Shirachora Gopinath is, and he left his body in there. And the samadhi of Madhavendra Puri is there. Here's the samadhi. I've been there several times. This is Madhavendra Puri's samadhi in Ramuna. So then Advaitacharya went to Navadvip. And in Navadvip, he opened up a Sanskrit school, and he initiated Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata in a 4-syllable Gopal mantra. So many people, at least from my reading, that 4-syllable Gopal mantra is Hare, Hare, Krishna, Hare, Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on initiated the whole universe in that particular mantra. So while he was there in Navadvip, he was serving the Vaishnavas and became very, very, very close with Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. And of course, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata were the father and mother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Advaitacharya noticed that people were becoming more and more and more degraded. So we really don't have to talk about that right now, because if you read the news or if you're aware of anything happening in society, you'll see that people are so degraded because the 4 principles of religiosity, cleanliness, mercifulness, truthfulness, and austerity are practically gone. Sometimes it's mentioned that there's only one principle left in Kali Yuga, which is truthfulness. But right now, I have my doubts about it, especially over the last 4 years or so, whether truthfulness is still there. So Advaitacharya became so concerned that he started to worship Krishna. Of course, he worshiped Krishna in the form of the Shalagram Shila, in the form of the Ganges. So he worshipped the deity with the Ganges water and Tulsi, begging and begging, Krishna, you have to appear. This world is so degraded that no one can save this world. No one can save us from this degradation except for you, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here he is praying for the advent of Krishna and, of course, Radharani. This is actually a relief picture, called bas relief or bas relief, that's in our museum in Mayapur. And I took that picture. So he's praying for Lord Chaitanya, praying for Lord Chaitanya to appear, but he's actually praying for Radha and Krishna. Please come, please come, please come. So when he finds out that Lord Chaitanya is going to appear from the womb of Sachimata, that he goes and he establishes his house. He actually had a house in Navadvip and a house in Shantipur, but he moves almost permanently at this point to Navadvip, to a place called the Advaita Bhavan, which is right close to the Srivasanga, right close to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance place. And Sita, Advaita's wife, is always assisting Sachimata before the birth and after the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, there's an interesting story of how Advaitacharya one time comes in and he circumambulates Sachimata and he smears sandalwood paste on her womb, on the outside, of course, and she doesn't know what he is doing, but he understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead is soon to take birth in this material world. So then Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, they give birth to several children who pass away, but Lord Chaitanya's elder brother is born, and Lord Chaitanya's elder brother, of course, is Visvarupa. So there's two brothers right now, Visvarupa and Gauranga. Gauranga means like golden one. He's called Gauranga because his complexion is golden, and also because he is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. Like Radharani is called Gaurangi, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. So here Lord Chaitanya is appearing. So what happened is that Vishwarup, the elder brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually takes sannyas. And one of the reasons he took sannyas, well, he wanted to escape from the entanglement of this world. He heard his parents, Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, talking about arranging a marriage. Is this girl nice for you, or is that girl nice for him? And he overheard that, and he left in the middle of the night. And his parents, Lord Chaitanya's parents, became very, very upset with this. And Lord Chaitanya, after some pastimes, which we don't have time to talk about right now, such as his sitting on some rejected cooking pots, and being stopped from going to school, I mean, amazing pastimes at this particular juncture, he was allowed to go back to school because he guaranteed to his parents that he wouldn't leave. So, but the problem is, when Vishwarup took sannyas, Sachimata got so upset with Advaitacharya, whom she blamed for Vishwarup taking sannyas, because every day Vishwarup would go over to Advaitacharya's house and hear about Krishna's pastimes. So she called Advaita two-faced. So in other words, normally we refer to Advaitacharya as Advaita. Advaita means non-different, one, not two, like not two. And she called him two, Dvaita, which means two-faced. I think you all know what two-faced means, like someone who is actually very deceptive. You tricked my son, you're to blame. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered this to be an offense against Advaitacharya. So later on, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the house of Srivas Thakur, and he was giving Krishna Prema to everybody, he was asked, why don't you give Krishna Prema to Sachimata, your mother? And Lord Chaitanya said, no, she's an offender at the feet of Advaitacharya. So when she heard that, she grabbed Advaitacharya's feet, and of course Advaitacharya also grabbed her feet. So the point is, you may be even the mother of God, but if you offend a Vaishnava, you're not going to get pure Krishna consciousness. This is really interesting, because so many times people make a claim to their fame, considering who they've been initiated by. They say, well, I'm initiated by this great devotee. That's my claim to fame. I'm initiated by Prabhupada. But that's not the point. You could be initiated by Krishna himself. But if you commit offenses, or if you decide not to be a devotee, it's not going to help you. Like Krishna's own son, Bhoma became a demon, Bhomasura. Or Advaita's sons, 3 of them. became rascals and were rejected by Advaitacharya. Of course, Sachimata took the right remedy, and she bowed down at Advaitacharya's feet, touching his feet. She, of course, was forgiven. Advaitacharya was never upset with her. But as it is stated that even if a Vaishnava forgives you, sometimes the dust on his feet will not forgive you. Very, very, very heavy. So, very, very important lesson for us. So eventually, we have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. Oh, actually, no, I have stories before that that are not in this slideshow. But I'm going to tell the story because one of them is one of my favorite stories. Two stories we'll tell right now. Advaitacharya one day is asked by someone, who is the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And Advaitacharya answers by saying, Keshava, who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas guru. Actually, this happened there. Okay, let's go for it. It happens after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. So, anyway, Advaitacharya answers that Keshava is Lord Chaitanya's sannyas guru. And Advaitacharya's son, Achyutananda, corrects Advaitacharya, saying, this is nonsense, Dad. No one can become the guru or the supreme personality of Godhead. And so Advaitacharya says, now my son knows more than me. So here's another thing that happened before the sannyas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Advaitacharya was feeling really bad that Lord Chaitanya kept respecting him. He was very upset with this because he understood that Lord Chaitanya is non-different than Brajendranandana. And Advaitacharya is an expansion of Brajendranandana, actually an expansion, a plenary portion of a plenary portion. So Advaitacharya wanted to be chastised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in order to be chastised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started teaching a bogus philosophy. And I'm going to read a little bit from the Chaitanya Charitamrita about this. Or, actually, I'm going to read the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sorry about that. So it's described that Advaitacharya became like a wild man. He was preaching impersonalism from the Yoga Vishishta. And he said impersonalism is more important than personalism. Devotion to Lord Vishnu is a mirror, and personal philosophy is like a pair of eyes. How can a man without eyes look in a mirror? Impersonalism alone is the true teaching of the scriptures. Haridas Thakur was with Advaitacharya, and Haridas Thakur was laughing because he understood this was just a play to get Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu upset with him. So, maybe I'll tell the story without reading about it. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he understood what Advaitacharya was doing, and at this time Advaitacharya had moved, for a few days at least, to Shantipur, Lord Chaitanya decided to chastise Advaitacharya. So he said to Lord Nityananda, let's go to Shantipur to deal with Advaitacharya. So they started to walk to Shantipur, and on the way they stopped at a so-called household sannyasi's house, took a little prasadam, had a little philosophical argument with them, because the Brahmin, he was blessing Lord Chaitanya with material opulence. And Lord Chaitanya said, I didn't want that. I want pure devotional service. And the Brahmana thought, you're so immature. You don't know the real meaning of life. The real meaning of life is to enjoy material opulence. And so he chastised Lord Chaitanya. Then after the meal, he offered Lord Chaitanya, what did he offer him? Some happiness. And Lord Chaitanya didn't know what happiness was. Lord Nityananda knew that happiness was liquor. And so Lord Chaitanya got so upset with this, he jumped into the Ganges with Lord Nityananda, and they swam to Advaitacharya's house. At Advaitacharya's house, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so upset with Advaitacharya, he started pummeling him and beating him up. And Sita Devi, the wife of Advaitacharya, came out and said, "You're going to kill the old man. You're going to kill him." And Lord Chaitanya said, "I don't care. He's a nonsense. He's preaching this nonsense philosophy of personalism." And Advaitacharya started dancing in ecstasy. Finally, he's chastising me. And Lord Chaitanya understood about the trick, and then they sat down and took prasadam. So, then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas after this particular point, and he was tricked by Lord Nityananda because after wandering in Radhadesh for 3 days, Radhadesh is where the Ganges doesn't flow, he was taken to the bank of the Yamuna near Shantipur. So the Ganges and the Yamuna flow together. It was actually the Ganges, but the Yamuna and the Ganges flow together after the Triveni. So Lord Nityananda tricked him, and he said, "This is actually the Yamuna." In fact, it was the Yamuna, because the Yamuna flows on that side and the Ganges flows. Anyway, they're mixed. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jumped into the river, and then he saw Advaitacharya on the other side with dry clothes, and he understood that he had been tricked to go to Shantipur rather than to Vrindavan, because he actually thought he was on the way to Vrindavan. So then he and Lord Nityananda took prasad at the house of Advaitacharya. And something very interesting happened when he took prasad in the house of Advaitacharya. And now I will read. Lord Nityananda, being very, very funny, enacted a wonderful pastime with Advaitacharya. So Lord Nityananda said, as they were getting ready to take prasadam, "I have undergone fasting for 3 days continually. Today I'd hoped to break my fast." And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was a sannyasi, acting as a perfect sannyasi, so he was thinking, I can't eat everything they prepared for me. And they had been fasting for 3 days. But Lord Nityananda said, "Although I have been invited to eat by Advaitacharya, today is also a fast, so small quantity of food could not even fill half my belly." Advaitacharya replied, "You are a mendicant traveling on pilgrimage. Sometimes you eat fruits and roots, and sometimes you go on fasting. I am a poor Brahmin, and you have come to my home. Please be satisfied with whatever little food you have received and give up your greedy mentality." And Lord Nityananda replied, "Whatever I may be, you have invited me. Therefore, you must supply as much as I want to eat." And this way they were joking. Advaitacharya said, "You are a reject Paramahamsa." In other words, you're unqualified. "And you've accepted the renounced order of life just to fill up your belly. I can understand that your business is to give trouble to Brahmanas." Advaitacharya accused Lord Nityananda, saying, "You can eat 10 to 20 manas of rice. I'm a poor Brahmana. How shall I get so much rice?" And Lord Nityananda replied, actually Advaitacharya said, "Whatever you have, though it be a palmful of rice, please get up and eat it and get up. Don't show your madness and strew the remnants of food here and there." In this way, they were joking back and forth, back and forth. We'll skip a little ahead. Eventually, Lord Nityananda jokingly said, "My belly is not filled up yet. Please take away your food. I have not taken the least of it." After saying this, Lord Nityananda took a handful of rice, threw it on the floor in front of him as if he were angry. When 2 or 4 pieces of the thrown rice touched his body, Advaitacharya began to dance in various ways so that the rice stuck to his body. When the rice thrown by Lord Nityananda Prabhu touched his body, Advaitacharya thought himself purified by the touch of remnants thrown by Nityananda, and he began dancing. This is the picture you see here. Advaitacharya jokingly said, "My dear Nityananda, I've invited you indeed. I've received the results. You have no fixed caste or dynasty. By nature, you are a madman. To make me a madman like yourself, you have thrown the remnants of your food at me. You did not even fear the fact that I'm a Brahmana." Nityananda replied, "These are the remnants of food left by Lord Krishna. If you take them to be ordinary remnants, you have committed an offense." Nityananda Prabhu continued, "If you invite at least 100 sannyasis to your home and feed them sumptuously, your offense will be nullified. And Advaitacharya replied, I shall never again invite another sannyasi, for it is a sannyasi who has spoiled all my grammatical smriti regulations. Smriti means like the ritual regulations. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful story from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So every year, Advaitacharya would go to Jagannath Puri to see Lord Chaitanya. Uh, and one year, something very interesting happened. There was this devotee, Kamalakanta Vishwas, who was like the servant of Advaitacharya. And Advaitacharya owed some money to someone. So Kamalakanta Vishwas went to King Prataparudra, that's the king of Orissa, and he begged for some money to pay Advaita's debt. And Lord Chaitanya got very angry. Do you think that Advaitacharya is a poor man? He's the supreme personality of Godhead. And Advaitacharya participated there. You see him in Rath Yatra. And then another humorous encounter with Lord Nityananda happened at the Indradunya Lake. Many pastimes occurred there, dancing before the deities, and especially in the Indradunya Lake, what happened is that's near the Gundicha temple, which represents Vrindavan. All the devotees started acting like children because it represents Vrindavan, and they were imitating frogs and had water fights in pairs. Lord Nityananda and Advaitacharya had a fight, and Lord Nityananda defeated Advaitacharya, splashing so much water in his face he couldn't see. And Advaitacharya chastised Lord Nityananda with really bad words. Not bad words like we use. In polite society, they don't use words like we use. You know, they would say other things, you know, like you're a donkey or something like that. Nothing really heavy. Also in this lake, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Advaitacharya, you are Anantashesh and I am Vishnu. And we see here Vishnu lying on Anantashesh. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu floated on Advaitacharya, who acted like a serpent bed of Anantashesh. Many, many wonderful pastimes happening. Lord Chaitanya Advaitacharya, Lord Nityananda Advaitacharya in this particular locale. So, there were some things before we get to this particular pastime. Let's see, what was the story that I was going to tell about this? Okay, actually, we can tell this. So one of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate associates was named Jagadananda Pandit. And Jagadananda Pandit one time brought some sandalwood oil for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being a perfect sannyasi, didn't want to accept the sandalwood oil because if a sannyasi puts perfumed oil on his body, everyone will think he's a Dari sannyasi, you know, this fallen sannyasi, basically. And so Lord Chaitanya didn't want it, and he said to Jagadananda Pandit, I think you should give this sandalwood oil to Lord Jagannath. And Jagadananda Pandit, who you see here smashing the sandalwood, the container of sandalwood oil, said to Lord Chaitanya, who said I brought sandalwood oil? And he smashed it. And then he locked himself in his room for 3 days without speaking. And Lord Chaitanya, or eating or doing anything. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, feeling so compassionate to him, asked Jagadananda to cook for him. Jagadananda came out and cooked for him. And Lord Chaitanya said, whatever you cook, even in an angry mood, tastes very, very wonderful. So Jagadananda cooked for him, and then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to avoid, I guess, any more of these angry encounters with Jagadananda, who happened to be an incarnation of Satyabhama, who Krishna and Dwarka Leela had many interesting interactions with. I mean, she really showed a lot of anger with Krishna. It's called prema vivarta, the illusion of prema, in which one's beloved shows anger towards you to please you. It's very wonderful. Actually, Jagadananda Pandit published a book named the Prema Vivarta. So Lord Chaitanya sent him back to Shantipur. He said, oh, you should go back to Shantipur and take a message for Advaitacharya. And so he sends him to Navadvip, or Shantipur, and he associates with Advaitacharya, and he's given a message from Advaitacharya to Lord Chaitanya. Please inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad like him. Inform him also that in the marketplace, rice is no longer in demand. So this means that you've accomplished your mission. Everybody's ecstatic. Time for you to move on with your pastimes. After hearing this equivocal sonnet by Advaitacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quietly smiled. He said, that is his order, and then he fell silent. And although he knew the secret, Swarup Damodar Goswami asked, what is the meaning of this sonnet? I could not understand it. And Lord Chaitanya said, Advaitacharya is a great worshiper of the Lord and very expert in the regulative principles enjoined in the Vedic literatures. He invites the Lord to come, or the deity to come, and to perform worship. He keeps the deity for some time, and then he sends the deities away somewhere else. I do not know the meaning of the sonnet, nor do I know what is in Advaita Prabhu's mind. No one can understand him. Advaitacharya is a great mystic. He is expert in writing sonnets that even I myself cannot understand. And so after this, Lord Chaitanya's symptoms of ecstasy became more and more and more pronounced. And finally, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered into the deity you see here. This is called the Tota Gopinath deity. He's sitting down. This deity is sitting down, quite a large, tall deity. And the reason the deity is sitting down is because this is the deity of Gadadhar Pandit Goswami. And Gadadhar Pandit Goswami in his old age couldn't take care of the deity because the deity was so tall. So in order for him to be able to take care of the deity sat down. Tota Gopinath deity's beautiful temple there in Jagannath Puri. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered into this deity of Tota Gopinath. And when Advaitacharya heard this, he called for all the devotees to come. He has a kirtan, and he cries out, where is my Gauranga? Where is my Gauranga? Where is my Gauranga? Here he is. And he enters the temple of the deity of Madan Gopal. This is a different Madan Gopal deity. This is a Madan Gopal deity in Shantipur, not in Vrindavan, not Madan Mohan in Vrindavan. And then he disappears into the deity of Madan Gopal. And this temple is quite well taken care of. These are the deities of Madan Gopal, Radha and Madan Gopal. And you also see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. So this is the story of Advaitacharya. All glory is to Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya ki jai. So we'll stop here. And let's stop the sharing. So today is his, 3 people sent chats. Krishnanama Prabhu is in his final stages. Oh my God. One of our devotees is in the final stage. Anyway, I am in the middle class right now. So anyway, so there's a devotee who's just getting ready to leave this world. And so we ask you all to pray for this devotee. His name is Krishna Nama, one of my dear disciples. And devotees are with him. I should pray for him. We're actually all praying for him. Wait a second. Uh-oh. Hold on. The screen is blanking out for a second. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we'll ask if any of you want to ask some questions. I'm going to, right after I get off here, I'm going to connect electronically with Krishna Nam and chant for him. So anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, who is, we had Champaka and Sumukha. So who wants to go first?
Ladies first, Gurudev.
Okay. What's the question?
I'm just wondering why. I'm just wondering why Advaitacharya referred to Lord Nityananda first as a renunciate and then as a sannyasi.
As a what?
He said
First
you became a
renunciate.
renunciate just to fill your belly. And then he said, I'm not going to invite sannyasis over ever again because, sannyasis are ruining everything.
Prabhupada said that Lord Nityananda never formally took sannyas. He was like a brahmachari. Many times in India, if someone is like a brahmachari, they're respected almost like a sannyasi. Saffron is really something in India, whether or not one is a sannyasi or not. So Lord Nityananda never took the formal order of sannyas. In fact, in many cases, he dressed quite opulently. I don't know if he dressed in saffron or not. That's not no information about that. But in many cases, he dressed quite opulently, had a lot of jewelry on his body, and was very much into opulence and eating a lot of prasadam. So, but still, at that point, he wasn't married. So he was considered renunciate, I guess, somehow or other. Avaduta. Okay. He was an avaduta. Avaduta means like the wind, someone who has no rules and regulations. And so, just like a Paramahamsa Nityananda. So, but he was never a formal sannyasi. There's no indication that he ever formally took sannyas. Although he did act like a renunciate sometimes, and other times he was married. He's an avaduta. He doesn't have to follow any rules like you and I. That's Lord Nityananda. Okay? Who else has a question?
Gurudev, it's me. Sumuk Das.
Yes. Sumuk.
Yes, Gurudev, thank you for, when you said there was a form of Hari Harai, the mother
Yeah.
of Aditya soul, that is half Krishna and half Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
So today I came to know that it's when Lord Chaitanya says Hari Haraya Nama, which means there's Hari and Hara.
No. That's not the same thing. It's not Hari Harai. It's Hari Hara.
Hari Hara. Okay.
Yeah. There's a difference between Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. No, that has nothing to do with it.
Also, in the class you said if you do offense to the Vaishnava, if the Vaishnava forgives you, but when you said somebody doesn't forgive, who was that, Gurudev?
The dust of the feet of the Vaishnava may not forgive you.
Okay.
For example, in the case of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, Ambarish obviously had forgiven Durvasa Muni, but Durvasa Muni had not yet gone to the feet of Maharaj Ambarish and begged for forgiveness, so he still was being harassed by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay.
So the whole point is one has to go to the feet. One actually has to go to the feet of the devotee who you offend. Oh, actually, so here's a little information. Nityananda is the name of it's a brahmachari name. So he was a brahmachari, considered renunciate because he was a brahmachari, had not yet gotten married. All right. So who else has a question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Abhay Chaitanya, good to see you.
Thank you, Maharaj, and very good to see you. Dandavar Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Just a question about Advaitacharya there. I understand. So he's an expansion. Is it right? He's expansion of both Mahavishnu and also combination of Lord Shiva?
No. He is actually not a combination of Lord Shiva. He is an expansion of Mahavishnu, an appearance of Mahavishnu, a form of Mahavishnu. And he expands as Lord Shiva. Just like Mahavishnu, as I mentioned before, Mahavishnu's glance at the material energy is
Yeah.
called Shambhu, and that's Lord Shiva. So no, Advaita Acharya is not like Lord Shiva and Vishnu or Krishna. He is directly the Supreme Lord. An expansion, an expansion of Krishna.
So he would be Vishnu Tattva, not Shiva Tattva.
Yes. Yeah, he is Vishnu Tattva.
Okay.
Not
All right.
Shiva Tattva.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay, good to see you. Okay, I think I want to end because I want to get in touch with this devotee who's getting ready to leave the planet right now, and at least say a few words in his ear before he leaves this world. So we thank you all for joining us. All glory is to His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.